I'm Jen Campbell. This is Art About. This is 2 to 1 from Gloucester.
Still standing on the street, all alone. I've forgiven you, please forgive me. I've changed my attitude, can't you see?
I never said I didn't want to come home. Still standing on the street, all alone. I've forgiven you, please forgive me. I've changed my attitude, can't you see?
Never said I didn't want to come home. Still standing on the street, all alone. I've forgiven you, please forgive me. How to play that wood. Jenny's in the pit and she's looking fine. She really knows how to play in time. Play me a song, Jenny. I'm poring over every note. Grab your bassoon, Jenny. It's time to play 2 notes, then grab your boot again. Show me how you play on the saxophone. I'd really love to hear your tones. Show me how you play on the clarinet. The audience ain't seen nothing yet. And she played. Jenny's in the pit and she's looking fine. She really knows how to play in time. Jenny's in the pit and she sounds real good. She really knows how to play that wood. Play me a whole note, Jenny. I'd rather see you up on stage. Let's hear it encore, Jenny. Just for me. And she played. Whoa, she looks so cute. She impresses everybody with her solid gold flute. Whoa, and I'm only here to see Jenny. Whoa, and her hair's cool too. And you gotta pay attention to her fingerings. Whoa, everybody's here to see Jenny. One, two, three, four. I hate drought. It really stresses me out. I sincerely doubt we'll see the end of drought. 7 states get their water from a common source. They negotiate, but their problems couldn't get much worse. They can't declare water bankruptcy. They can't go back to how it used to be. They're gonna have to do something. I hate drought. It really stresses me out.
This is Jen Campbell with ArtAbout. I'm here with 2 to 1. I want to throw it to them.
Hey, I'm Timsky, guitar and vocals and stuff.
Hi, I'm Jamie Klopotowski. I play bass and Barry.
Hi, I'm Bill Spencer. I play drums and do vocals.
So I'm going to throw it to Timsky first. And the first question I have is, why ska?
That is the question, isn't it? It's mostly an accident for me
Okay.
because way back in the day, a friend of mine asked me to be in a band outside of school, and I was a ska band. And it was a natural fit for me because I'm a trombone player. So ska is a genre that predominantly the thing people know about it is the horns. So it was a natural fit. But I kind of fell in love with it from early listening to it and playing it and getting into the bands, and then learning the history about it, learning the craze that hit America in the 90s, the craze that hit Britain in the 80s, and the original craze in Jamaica in the 50s and 60s. There's just a lot there.
There is.
But a lot of it is tied to certain bands that I would listen to and frequent and try to emulate with my own bands. So I've been in bands starting in middle school and high school, local bands doing random things, and this is just the latest incarnation of that. The ironic thing about this band is it has ever started with no horns. I picked up the guitar for this band, and now I'm playing ska guitar.
That's great. I have a question for Jamie. So Jamie, we talked a little bit about the band, but how did it really start? Tell us kind of the beginning of the band.
Yeah, so it started out actually with Timsky and Bill. We're just jamming at my house and on guitar and drums. So they were obviously missing a bass player. And I've never played the bass in my entire life.
Yeah.
But for my birthday, Timsky took me to Guitar Center and had me pick out a bass guitar. And I did, and taught myself how to play it, and then joined in with their jamming.
How long did it take you to learn the bass?
I'm still learning.
I'm still learning the guitar.
It's all a learning process, but like, I'm a musician. I've been playing since I was in 5th grade, so I know what music is. I know what rhythm and beat and the notes are. It was just learning a new style of putting that all together. So, I mean, I was jamming with them, I don't know, within a few weeks of picking up the bass guitar.
Oh, wow.
But I'm definitely still learning.
That's great. Bill, I want to throw it to you. So I know how these two know each other. They're married, but I want to know how you met these guys.
So Tim and I were in a ska band together. Like, I was in a different band, and my drummer was in the Runaround, this other band, and they were looking for a bass player, so I joined up. And we were in the band together for about 6 years, or maybe longer, I don't remember. But Tim and I actually lived together for a period of time, and that was right when Tim and Jamie met. So, like...
Intrigue.
Yeah. So Tim and I and another friend of ours moved into a house together, and then within the first week, Tim and Jamie met, and she basically was just like always there. So we all got to know each other really well, and the rest is history. Like we've been in touch ever since, and that other band ended, and like we just kind of reconnected to play music.
I love that.
Yeah.
And it sounds like a lot of the performance happened. So this show is about the North Shore. And what I'm interested in knowing is, how is your music and your art expression informed by the North Shore, if at all? Go for it.
Well, like for me, like there was a venue called the Art Space in Gloucester when I was in high school, and I went to a bunch of shows there, and it was very like punk, ska, hardcore, like lots of bands in those genres coming through and playing, and there was like a really vibrant scene, and there was like a distinct like Gloucester band like style, I guess.
Yeah.
And so that like, and this is like in the same tradition, I guess. I
Yeah.
would say. So like, you know, playing some of these songs that were written for another band, like when Tim was in high school, like whatever, 15 or 20 years ago, it's got that like, you know, it's such a nostalgic thing for me personally, but also like it's you know, very, very tied into that tradition,
Right.
which I love, which is really cool.
Yeah,
That's- go for it.
absolutely. Bill hit it on with Art Space. I was never lucky enough to hit Art Space because I was too young, but that tradition is very much there. And you know, I love the other bands I didn't mention any of them, but some of my favorite ska bands are bands you might go across the country and have heard of, but there's something about a local band that like touched 30 people at one time and they'll never forget it. And that I don't know what the future of this band is, but I want that for this band that you know, 20 years down the line, some people are like, "Oh, 2-1, that was awesome." What, you never heard of 2-1? Oh, they're so good. Just something like
here's
that.
the song. Here's the music.
Yeah. Keeping on that tradition, like I don't think it's died, but it's a lot harder nowadays. You know, the art space. One of the things that it had was a place to play music. It's hard to sometimes find a place to play music,
Mm.
but yeah, the only way to get bands going is to start them. So that's why we're here.
Right. Right. Do you have a perspective that's drawn to this place and the North Shore?
That's an interesting question for me because I grew up in Wisconsin.
So you don't.
I am a transplant to the North Shore, but I am making music predominantly in the North Shore. I'm a music teacher on the North Shore. I'm in 7 or 8 bands on the North Shore. I live and breathe and work on the North Shore. So how can it not inform all of what I do and all of the music that I make? So very influential.
Jamie actually runs 2 other North Shore bands.
She's two-timing you. Yeah.
I'm in one of those bands.
Oh, okay. Then
And that's also very much the ska and punk tradition, is just to be in like too many bands at the same time.
can't remember the names. That's funny. The other thing that I wanted to talk to you about, Jamie, is that you've been doing a lot of work with the schools. Can you talk a little bit about what you're trying to do with Gloucester and budgets and all that?
Yeah, so I'll briefly touch on that. So I'm a music teacher in Gloucester, and Gloucester, like most cities in the state, probably in the country right now, are facing budget cuts. So for the past couple of months, I've been working with the school committee and the city council and trying to get a fully funded budget for the school system in Gloucester. We were successful in making sure that the arts programs didn't get cut, but unfortunately, we were not successful in getting some of the other programs cut. So right now, the middle school librarian has been cut, lots of school classes and psychologists and behavioral, like lots of people have been cut, which is unfortunate.
Oh, wow.
But at least the arts are safe. So they were going to cut things like band and chorus and drama and art. And we at least convinced the local politicians to not do that because obviously art is my entire life.
Yeah.
It is my world. And to deprive that from children would just be devastating.
Right.
And it's always on the chopping block. Anytime there's a budget cut, it's always arts that comes first. So I'm glad that we were able to save that. But I don't consider my work done. We're just going to be getting, more and more cuts as time goes on. So you'll be seeing a lot more of me working to make sure at least the arts don't get cut. But I'm really hoping that schools just get fully funded so that the kids get what they need.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, Timsky, you talked about the rich history with ska. I'm going to say this is my last question. My last question to the band is, there was 3 waves for ska, as I understand it. There was the late 50s in Jamaica, and then it traveled sort of right and went to Europe, and it went to England. And the English beat was big, and madness and all of that. And then it kind of got fused with punk at that point. And that was in the late 70s, 80s. And then it went to America took like a left and went to America, and you got the Mighty Mighty Bosstones, and you got No Doubt, and Sublime is another one. So what I wanted to ask you was, what wave would you consider of this beautiful, rich history of ska is your wave, or are you integrating all of them?
Well, we do have I would say the one this band probably copies the least is the British wave. But we've got a couple of tunes that actually harken back to the original wave. Like we're playing at a very old ska song. I remember the name of it. Oh yeah, Miscalculation.
Which apparently started in Britain.
No, it was a ripoff of a surfer's surfer's tune. There was a lot of music being ripped off, but mostly I would say our influences are in the wave in the mid '90s in America. Absolutely. The addition of punk to the music that's my bread and butter. Like I really, really love it. And that's where it ges confusing for a lot of folks, because try to explain ska and it's very difficult.
Yeah.
Because it's evolved so much. And the style of music doesn't necessarily define, or, if you say you're in a ska band like we identify with, doesn't necessarily mean that every song is going to sound exactly like a particular wave of ska. Even like we play other what we call ska adjacent music.
Ska adjacent, I like that. Yeah.
And in that regard, like I identify with the music, but I also just identify with the personality of so many of the bands from that wave. My favorite being Five Iron Frenzy. Those guys are, they're goofy, they're humble, very talented, but I dig their vibe overall, and want to emulate that. You guys have other particular influences?
I think, so definitely my original influence in ska was the movie Clueless in the 90s. Mighty Mighty Bosstones were in that movie. And they played a set in that movie, and that was my first introduction to ska. And then I guess my next introduction, or my deeper dive into it, was meeting him and hanging out with his ska band and listening to all these new ska songs. But what I really identify with, I think more than the specific sound of the songs per se, because like Timsky said, so many of the songs sound so different from each other, is the culture around ska. So it's almost countercultural in a way. And I really identify with that. So instead of being this like mainstream, popular, materialistic, we're the opposite of all of that. So I think the countercultural aspect of it is what I really identify with.
Got it.
Yeah, absolutely. It like there's a revolutionary attitude in ska a lot of the time, like like fighting oppression, fighting like all kinds, but also like it manifests sometimes in more toxic ways depending on the band, but there's a lot of like good messaging in a lot of the music that like I didn't even realize was an influence on me until later in life, and I was just like, oh yeah, I just like never questioned those things, but now like I fully agree with the anti-racist message, or like like feminist messaging, and it's like it was a great influence on me as a young person.
That's the thing I loved about ska when I did my deep dive, because it's so bouncy and happy, and yet if you really listen to the lyrics, it's challenging, and it's saying to the people like, stand up for your rights, or it's definitely in the Jamaican Kingston versions of it. It's like, wow, this is really heavy stuff.
Well, even like our drought song, the I Hate the Drought song, is a perfect example of that, where it is super upbeat. He's singing, yeah, 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 yeah. And we're talking about this horrible drought that's happening in the country and in the world. And one of my favorite songs that we cover is called Get Your Riot Gear. And, it's all